Through capitalistic endeavors, every brand needs a face to separate them from the competition.
And while many of these mascots go on to become icons, there are just as many that are left in the dust. But even though these two are long gone, they will never be forgotten.
Pepsiman versus the Noid. PepsiCo's sodapop superhero versus Domino's pizza-ravaging villain.
He's one fish mob and I'm free crab mob, and it's our job to see who would win a fatal conflict.
Somewhere in the world, trouble is always brewing. Tsunamis, earthquakes, wildfire, squirrels. But nothing compares to the worst of all. A lack of good drinks to quench your thirst.
The kind of trouble that turns even the nicest of places into the worst of hellholes. But one man decided to take a stand against those lame old drinks and Coca-Cola. His name was Pepsiman. And with his fantastic sugar-filled power, he will fix any problem you have in the name of Pepsi. You name it. Empty vending machines, people trapped in buildings, crashed planes. He'll save the day with the power of tooth-dissolving carbonation.
Yes, the practicality of that being the solution to all these problems is questionable, but just in case, Pepsiman does have more than just Pepsi cans to use. Despite presumably engorging himself on flavored sugar water for his entire life, he's extremely athletic and strong, able to send people flying, run through walls, and effortlessly jump over cars and from rooftop to rooftop without slowing down.
But he's not just nimble. He runs on a sort of grounded toon force. He can be crushed, fall from jumping from 10 stories and stampedes and keep on going, all just to give that one person their Pepsi.
I mean, at least he's devoted to his cause. In fact, he is so devoted he can sprint across entire city blocks in a short amount of time, outrun large trucks, and navigate speeding traffic and many other perilous things just to obtain his goal. To give someone their Pepsi, which he can create right on the spot with nothing more than a gesture of his hand and mimicking the sound of soda being poured.
With this weird Pepsi man, see, he can slightly heal himself by drinking Pepsi, able to calm people with Pepsi, and even keep people from rioting with Pepsi.
Or it can just spontaneously come to life and start chasing Pepsiman. Aside from that, he's also somehow able to know when someone is in need of Pepsi and where they are.
Aside from that, he is an expert at surfing, snowboarding, and skateboarding. Man, so many boards he has.
He has also displayed some form of technokinesis to fix malfunctioning supercomputers, but to what extent this power can reach is unknown. He is also well adept in close quarters combat, often alternating between spin kicks, punches, and elbow jabs. He's so skilled, in fact, he can fight on par with other experienced martial artists adept in different fighting styles.
Who can also summon meteors! Man, if I had a nickel for every time we had a combatant who scales to people who can summon meteors, I'd have two, which isn't much, but it's concerning that it's happened more than once.
Judging by the size of the meteor, the fighting Vipers, and by proxy Pepsiman, must be enduring a force of up to 2.5 tons of TNT, enough to destroy an island.
But really, when the guy can run faster than speeding cars, why would he need to worry about getting hit? I mean, getting hit that often.
And if we were to go by the toy line, Pepsiman can also revive himself from the dead.
He can also access various different forms, such as Classic, Twist, Invisible, and Fucked.
Crab Mob.
What? It says so right there on the box, Fish Mob.
Oh my god, that's actually real.
But whatever the reason behind that name, he still has one ace up his sleeves. According to the toy line, he can pull a Jax and grow to the size of King Kong!
Now, to be fair, the toy makes it clear that this is not King Kong himself, but a monster gorilla. But considering your average King Kong knockoff often portrays them as being roughly around the same size as the real deal, and taking into account when these bottle caps came out, this means he can grow up to at least 18 to 60 feet tall. By doing this, he should also gain a physical boost in power as well. But he can also do the opposite and shrink down to the size of most standard food items.
Why would anyone just want to shrink to the size of a hot dog? Then again, considering that he runs all over the globe just to give people a can of Pepsi, outrun a speeding Coca-Cola truck, went toe-to-toe with many classic monsters and even participated in a fighting tournament, I guess he doesn't need to worry that much.
That's where you're wrong. Pepsiman, while a great athlete, is notoriously clumsy, tripping, running into walls, you name it. And he has been injured like any normal person.
But with incredible loyalty to the Pepsi brand, he will always be determined to give someone their cool, refreshing soft drink of Pepsi.
But he would sadly be forgotten as a mascot for over a decade, until he was rediscovered due to meme potential.
Truly, a fate worse than death. Pizza! We all love it. But nothing can be quite as treacherous for your pizza pie as being delivered. I mean, just think of all the things that could ruin it.
But all of these travesties can be attributed to the heinous actions of the infamous anti-pizza villain, the Noid. The literal manifestation of what could happen to your pizza, this midget naturally has an immense desire to destroy everyone's favorite Italian dish, any way he can. Unless he gets into a pizza eating contest or something in a similar ilk.
Yeah, he made quite a name and sworn enemy of all pizza restaurants for himself, and with what he can do, does it really surprise you that Domino's makes damn sure that this little turd doesn't ruin it? He can create miniature earthquakes with a rolled up newspaper alone, navigate rooftops with ease, and once survive an explosion so powerful it sent him into orbit!
To go from Earth to orbit is about 92 miles, and the whole ordeal took about 6 seconds, which means he was hit with enough force to send him flying at 1.363 E plus 10 miles per second. Or, faster than light plus. He's also a skilled magician, able to freeze, blind, and increase his speed. He can change his size from being smaller than a pizza box to being as big as a young child. Is a good skateboarder and is able to defeat armed thugs in battle. But his true strength comes from his genius mind. With it, he's created a wide variety of pizza-crushing gadgets.
For simple attacks, he could swing his yo-yo. With his bazooka, he can fire heat-seeking missiles. His ray gun can fire lasers, or blow up everything the kingdom come with his Noid bombs.
He can fire cryogenic gas with his freezer pack, can fly with his flight pack, cut down trees with his energy chainsaw, obstruct traffic with a balloon that glorifies himself, or flatten everything in his path with the Pizza Crusher, which is strong enough to crush concrete and shake the ground with ease.
He's even got an airplane that can fire water balloons. Why not just anti-pizza homing missiles? That would have made a lot more sense.
On the surface, the Noid doesn't seem to be anything more than a minor nuisance, but he is actually a well-accomplished villain / hero. He once saved all of New York City from the evil Mr. Green and his army, battled the Bandicoots, and once even blipped himself out of existence and still came back.
How is that even possible? He's basically ended his own existence right then and there.
Well, it is possible that the Noid himself is not an actual person, but an embodiment of all the bad things that can happen to someone's pizza. Hence why there isn't just one Noid, but many. So as long as pizza has to face the perils of being delivered, so will the Noid. But that doesn't mean the Noid is free of his own troubles.
Yeah, this guy has a temper about as short as he is, and he's just simply bonkers most of the time. You know what? Scratch that. He's pretty much all the damn time. And despite him being able to save an entire city, he was never able to destroy a Domino's pizza. Hell, he once got his ass beat by Adam West.
But all should beware, for as long as there's greasy, cheese-covered bread on its way to some expecting customer, the Noid will never be far behind.
Only our pizza is guaranteed to avoid the Noid. Domino's Pizza delivers. Call now.
Alright, the combatants are set. This battle shall have no prep time, no outside help, or home field advantage.
It is time to see who would win a fatal conflict!
But first, an important announcement. Have you ever wanted to give your voice towards a project full of passion and effort, not just with the acknowledgement of your assistants, but your voice actually used to bring any characters you want to life?
Have you ever wanted to show off the heroism of Leonardo, the charm of Underdog, the fear and devastation of Sephiroth, or the caring heart of Lucnocila?
Well, all this and more can be found with a recent casting call for an upcoming show just like ours. This is Malfore, a friend of the channel who has been helping us out lately for a good while. From giving feedback on old and new episodes, to giving out plenty of ideas for the show and helping to bring positive attention towards it. And for almost 2 years, he's been hard at work making his own versus show, just like ours, with multiple styles of animation, scripts that range from 25 to 50 pages long, and plenty of matchups that can keep viewers guessing in terms of what series or characters can be used for a show like ours. And that's not even bringing up the other stuff he has planned, like other versus shows, collaborations with others, like myself included, and much more that he's keeping secret.
However, while he is close to having his channel and start up with several videos prepared, having a channel with a whopping 0 videos and 19 subscribers does not make it easy to gather up parts of a team, and his biggest current need is with voice actors, paid or unpaid. He is in need of them to help give his show some more life, rather than just using voice clips or just having no voice acting whatsoever. And, as the early seasons of our Fish's Friend series shows, it isn't exactly great to have no life in a battle about life and death. That's where we, and you fellow fans, at home come in.
Currently, Malfore is holding a casting call containing over 60 characters with roles that are still needed for both his main show and his spin-offs, and a separate series with plenty of characters to voice in all sorts of ways, with all sorts of lines they'll have to say, even for characters that get as little as like 5 lines in total, give or take.
This will basically be open until most, if not all of the roles are taken, so you and your friends will have more than enough time to grab whatever role you are interested in.
Have you ever wanted to show off the greedy and egotistical personality of Eddie from Edda and Eddie? Well, you can do so right here.
Have you ever wanted to show off the tragedy and monstrous nature of Ben and his aliens from the Carnatrix Horror AU? Well, there's plenty of time to try him out.
Have you ever wanted to show off the bubbly, whimsical nature of a little girl made entirely out of pie materials with Malfore's own original character, Muffin? Or maybe you just want to show off your vocal range with the role of a narrator voicing characters of any age or gender in a similar way to Thomas the Tank Engine? Well, he has that open for his Sonic and My Hero Academia stories he's working on.
Or maybe you just want to voice someone random or funny like the Annoying Orange or Paul Blart. Well, he has those open for rap battles of all things. Is it weird? Yes, but it's certainly going to be fun and creative.
Heck, plenty of these characters he plans to give voices are some I'd be happy to do the same with, and he has plenty more characters that will show up in the future like Freddy Krueger, Dr. Eggman, Venom, Koro Sensei, Daffy Duck, and many more.
In an era where people use voice actors for projects and stuff like speech-to-text or AI has become less than liked, it's important to show support to a show willing to gather voice actors for their show rather than be lazy enough to use nothing but speech-to-text just to rush an episode out.
If you are interested, the link is in the description below, along with the Discord server where Malfore and his crew members are, if you want to show support with your voice talent and effort, or even help out with something else like animation or music. He is more than willing to allow underrepresented people or newcomers to the Versus scene to have their own spotlight while helping put their own work out into the world. But for now, it's time for an all-out fan war.
Time's up. $3 off.
Fish Mob, this isn't right, is it?
Well, that's what the research says.
You realize what this means, right? This means that we haven't had an outcome like this since 2016.
I know, but as odd as it is, I think breaking it down can help better explain this. This was a weird fight. Pepsiman was a tenacious athlete that could outperform even the best of champions, while the Noid's Looney Tune-esque antics would be pestersome for just about anyone. But in the end, both had enough going for them to ensure that neither really had an edge over the other. All of which boiled down to these categories: strength, durability, speed, equipment, skill, and abilities.
And the first category surprisingly goes to the Noid, because while Pepsiman can send people flying and burst through walls Kool-Aid Man style, the Noid can casually strike hard enough to create a miniature earthquake.
When it comes to their survivability, neither take the edge, as both have survived a plethora of life-threatening situations or have even been straight up killed, and both have always come back the very next commercial just fine.
Sure, the Noid has survived far more out there situations, but Pepsiman isn't too far off, given just how absurd his daily life of heroism is. And to make up for that, he did take the speed advantage.
This was honestly an easy give. The Noid is known for many things, but has never truly shown any real speed feats of his own.
While speed might as well be Pepsiman's claim to fame, outside of soft drinks, of course. He's outpacing cars, outrunning trucks, jumping all over sorts of obstacles. Despite being clumsy, you get the picture. Pepsiman would just dash through the Noid with no trouble.
But the advantage, once again, goes back to the Noid when it comes to equipment. Don't get us wrong, Pepsiman has a lot of stuff that can help him navigate all kinds of terrain, and he can use Pepsi to heal himself if need be. Except he has nothing for direct combat.
Which the Noid has in spades. Not only does he have his own ways of navigating the battlefield, he has a plethora of weapons at his disposal. Ray guns, crushers, freeze packs, chainsaws, and others to name a few. Nothing Pepsiman has compares to the technological might of the Noid.
Except his combat skills. Sure, the Noid can beat up random thugs, but Pepsiman can go toe-to-toe with professional fighters and literal monsters. He has an actual fighting style, while the Noid really doesn't. And there's no reason to say Pepsiman wouldn't take advantage of his infamous short temper.
Which brings us to the final category of this debate, their abilities.
This is an odd discussion, as neither combatant's ability set is comparable to the other. The Noid may have literal magic and even hammer space on his side, but Pepsiman technically has a larger pool of powers to pull from.
The Noid can go from being the size of a meatball to as big as a child. That's cute, but Pepsiman can literally grow as big as your average King Kong knockoff.
The Noid duplicates? Well, Pepsiman is no stranger to avoiding numerous obstacles, and he could use literal invisibility to avoid the Noid.
And even if the Noid or his clones did somehow injure him, Pepsiman can literally summon more Pepsi to heal himself, or straight up replace his limbs with the stuff. And if the Pepsi cans gain intelligence, now there's a steamroller to crush the Noid's clones.
But with that said, considering both are able to bounce back from injuries and even death itself, Neither truly have an advantage in this category, as neither have an effective way to put the other down for good.
And that's ultimately what it comes down to. Both mascots are formidable in their own pursuits, but when it comes down to a simple direct fight, neither can ever truly claim victory.
Both mascots were absurd, uniquely wacky, and immortal to a fault. But at the end of the day, the sodapop superhero and pizza pulverizing villain were just too evenly matched to claim victory.
And both would end up meeting an all too familiar end. So really, no skin off their noses, if Pepsiman even has a nose.
This battle is a draw. But if you want to see a fight between Pepsiman and Cool Spot, this is what you have to do. Click that like and subscribe button and share this video. If this video gets 3,000 likes, there will be a fight. But until then... Next time on Fan War.